Hey guys, welcome to Politically Provoked, an interactive podcast where we host debates, panels, and interviews. If this is your first time joining us, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to keep up to date with all our future debates and panels. We are primarily on YouTube, but you can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Discord, BitChute, TikTok, and Instagram. All the information is in the banner below. We also have a link tree you can find in the description, or you can just search Politically Provoked and we should pop right up. Politically Provoked is a neutral ground where people from across the political spectrum can either duke it out in a debate or just have a casual discussion in one of our panels. Either way, we try to represent both left and right-wing views on every episode. I'm your left-wing host, Brittany, and this is your right-wing host, Todd. How are you, Todd?
Doing great, Britt. How are you?
Doing good. All right, so tonight is debate night. We got a good one for you guys. We are going to be debating abortion. So let's bring on our guests. Let's bring on Tyler. How are you tonight?
Hey, how are you, Brittany?
Good, yeah. So you want to introduce yourself, tell people where you lie on the political spectrum, and where people can find you.
Sure. So I'm pretty I'm on the right, not super far right, but I hold a bunch of libertarian or conservative views. When it comes to this, I'm definitely pro-life. And I debated a fair amount. I'm definitely excited to debate TJump on this for sure. Definitely have a lot of respect for him, so I hope that we have a good discussion. You can find me on Instagram at Tyler Bluntman, on YouTube at Tyler Bluntman, and I may or may not have just rejoined TikTok, even though they banned my previous one. So you can find me on there at not Tyler Bluntman. So go ahead and find me there.
Good. All right. So next up is somebody brand new to Politically Provoked. Let's bring on TJump. How are you tonight?
I'm pretty good. How are you guys?
Good. Yeah. So you want to introduce yourself, tell people where you lie in the political spectrum, and where people can find you.
Sure. I'm TJump. I do debates with professors and philosophers and other people on different epistemology-based topics, and more recently, political topics on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/TJump. And yeah, go check me out there.
Yeah, and I do have both of their information in the description, so if you guys want to check them out, you can go look at it there. All right, so
I forgot. On the political spectrum, I am center left. That's where I lie.
All right, thank you. All right, so here's what we will do. Each person can give an opening statement, can be as little as 1 minute, no longer than 5, about the topic and what your stance is. After that, we'll open up the floor. After the debate is over, we'll go into the Q&A portion. If you guys have questions, tag Politically Provoked and who your question is addressed to. We should be able to get to them all. We will do closing statements and final thoughts after the Q&A. So, Tyler, why don't you get us started with opening statements?
Sure. So I'm definitely pro-life on this one. I hold that the most logical conclusion, I have 4 qualifiers as to why I am pro-life. The first being that I hold that it's the most logical conclusion that personhood begins at conception. My second is that, in addition to that, all human persons have an equal right to life. My third being that if you kill a person that you force to become dependent on your body, this would generally qualify as homicide, so it should go ahead and be applied to the woman in the womb, or to the person in the womb. I'm sorry. And then my fourth is, additionally to that, parents or legal guardians are required to feed, shelter, and provide reasonable care for their children.
All right, thank you. So, TJump.
All right, cool. So my position is I'm pro-choice because I think that we didn't choose anything about biology. So I kind of agree with all of Tyler's points, except I would say that the third one just doesn't apply in this case. Like obviously, if you forced another human being to become dependent on your body, then yeah, you would be responsible if they died. However, if someone else forced a human being to be responsible or to be dependent on your body, well, then it's not your fault. That someone else is to blame. So I like to think of the example of, like, imagine an evil vegan dictator who just hates you eating cheeseburgers or hamburgers. And that every time you eat a hamburger, he's going to kill a child in his country. Like, are you morally responsible for eating the hamburgers? Are you a bad person? No, like, this is not your fault. The evil dictator is clearly the one who did the crime here, not you. Should the government make laws to stop you from eating cheeseburgers because of what the evil dictator does? No, again, we should try to stop the evil dictator. This is not your fault for just enjoying hamburgers. Let's say the evil dictator has some scientist working for him, and instead of killing a child in his country, he puts a baby human inside of you every time you eat a hamburger. Are you morally responsible to raise the child? No, this is essentially synonymous with rape. Like, someone is forcing a person into you without your consent, you did not do this. Would you be evil for continuing to eat hamburgers knowing the evil scientists of this dictator are going to do this? No, again, he's at fault. You have every right to exercise your right to eat cheeseburgers, and we have a moral right to stop the dictator, not to stop you. Same with, should we enforce governmental laws to stop you from eating cheeseburgers because this evil dictator is going to do some evil stuff? Again, no. The goal here is that we need to stop the evil dictator. So let's say the evil dictator gets some really advanced super technology and changes the biology of your body, my body, or Tyler's body so that every time we eat a cheeseburger, a human being starts to form in us without our consent. Are we morally obligated to raise the child? No, because this is this exact same as rape. Someone has forced something into your body without your consent and said that you are not allowed to do something, which you should be allowed to do as much as you want, because of some biological feature you did not choose that was forced on you without consent. And should we make laws to stop you from eating hamburgers if this is the case? If some evil dictator has forced your biology, that every time you eat a cheeseburger, some other human is formed in your body, should we force you to stop eating hamburgers? Well, no. I mean, again, the fault here all lies with the evil dictator, not the person eating the hamburgers. So in this case, I don't see any difference between these examples and pregnancy. We didn't choose our biology. We were forced into this biology by nature or by a god, if you believe in a god. And so it's no different to think of pregnancy without consent. Like if you have sex and get pregnant without wanting to get pregnant, it's no different from eating a cheeseburger and having some outside evil dictator force you to become pregnant against your will. Like clearly you should have the right to protect your body against that outside force, which is not you, determining what impacts are incurred on your body. So clearly, just like the person in this example has the right to remove the child that was impregnated, that they were impregnated with without their consent, so should the mother have the right to remove the child who was put into them without their consent. So I think that these are essentially analogous examples, and I'd like to know how Tyler thinks there's a difference here between an evil dictator putting someone in you without your consent versus biology putting someone in you without your consent.
All right, I guess we can open up the floor. So, Tyler.
Yeah, so I'll just kind of go right into this. So first of all, if you don't have to eat a cheeseburger and you choose to eat one anyway, and this specific cheeseburger is going to kill another person, then you are absolutely responsible. That's 1,000%. You really can't get around that. Now, if you were saying something like, well, you can't eat anything else but this cheeseburger, then that would be a little bit different. But it doesn't even matter because you're not putting anyone into any forced state of dependency. So I wouldn't even really acknowledge it anyway. I can just ask you directly, why do you not believe that? First, I don't want to be bad faith. Do you grant me that it's a person in the womb?
Sure.
Okay, so why do you not believe that she is forcing that person into a state of dependency?
For the exact reason I just outlined, because she didn't design biology that way. So she didn't want the pregnancy, which means it was forced on her without consent, exactly like someone else, an evil dictator, impregnating you without your consent. So I disagree with your take on the example here. Like if you eat a cheeseburger and some evil dictator decides to kill somebody, you aren't morally responsible. You didn't do anything wrong here. So I don't see how you come to the conclusion that somehow, even knowing that there's an evil dictator out there who's going to kill someone, why would you be morally responsible and required to not eat the cheeseburger?
No, you're again, like I stated, like you're just saying, well, if someone just eats any cheeseburger and then someone dies because of it, that's not the same thing. I said that if you choose to eat this specific cheeseburger and you don't have to eat this cheeseburger, but you know that someone will die directly from you doing it, that's just like pressing a button. Like if I knew that if I pressed this button that it would kill someone immediately, somebody would die, I absolutely am responsible for that person dying. Do you disagree?
Yeah, totally. So again, and again, I'm saying any cheeseburger here. So if you eat any cheeseburger ever, this vegan dictator is going to kill somebody. So you now have to say you no longer have the right to eat a cheeseburger. You are morally obligated to never eat a cheeseburger because of what that psychopath does. Is that what you're saying?
I'm sorry, say that again.
So anytime that you eat any cheeseburger ever, so you can eat other stuff, there's pizza or whatever, or maybe just only vegan food. So if you only eat vegan food, he won't care. But if you eat a cheeseburger or hamburger, he's going to kill somebody. There's a dictator. He's going to kill somebody, not you. You didn't do it. All you did was eat a cheeseburger. And what you seem to be saying is that you are now morally obligated to never eat hamburgers again because there's some dictator on the other side of the planet who's going to kill somebody if you do it. Therefore, you're morally responsible. Is that Is that
No, that's not what I'm holding. Again, like you're trying to apply it to just like all food when I'm telling you that like this specifically, you would have to do like a specific action that caused a specific chain of events. Not like, oh, I do this and then something is like somebody is going to do something. Somebody look. So for instance, why are you saying that if I press a button, and I know that if I press this button, like two things will happen. Let's say that I am immediately given $100. It just comes out of nowhere, right? Just materializes in front of me. So I press this button, and $100 appears in front of me. But I also know that by pressing this button, that somebody else will die. You're saying that I'm not responsible for that person's death?
If you didn't design the button and the button is your right to press,
That doesn't matter.
no.
That doesn't matter. Through my hold on.
How?
I think that we're just having a disagreement on what force is. So do you understand like the definition of force?
Sure.
Okay, how do you define force?
When it directly is, it's like a consequence of a design by you that you caused.
Not exactly. So like for Oxford, so it would just to achieve or bring about something through your own effort. So through my own effort, did I press that button and did I bring about the conclusion that someone died?
So through the woman's own effort, does she control biology? Does she control cells?
The biology doesn't matter. If there was
it's literally the argument.
No, T-Jump. So hold on. So you're saying that through her own effort, right, through actions of her own I'm not talking about rape cases, right, through her own voluntary action, that she did not bring about the conclusion of pregnancy?
No, she doesn't control biology. Definitively false.
T-Jump, if I throw a baseball at a window, did I force the window to break?
Yes, because it's your baseball.
Because it's my baseball?
Sure.
Okay, so through my action, through an action that I committed, I caused a conclusion.
Sure.
Okay, so through the woman's own action, she caused a conclusion.
Nope, she didn't cause biology. Didn't happen.
Dude,
so you have to address. You haven't addressed anything I've said so far. So you have to address my example.
You're not understanding. You're like, I don't know if you're being dishonest or you're just not understanding what I'm saying. Like it's got to be like one of these two things.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Hold on,
I've already addressed.
Hold on, T-Jump. Let me finish. So if it doesn't matter if it's biological or not, if you set off a chain of events, if you are the reason why that chain of events was set off, that is because of you.
No, so that's false. That's called a composition division fallacy, also a hasty generalization fallacy. So objectively, we know that's false. So
no, it isn't.
For example, I can say, I'm going to open a free market in Bolshevik Russia. And then Stalin decides to come in and kill everyone because he doesn't want you to have a free market. Is that my fault?
T-Jump, that has nothing to do with what I just said.
Answer the question.
That has nothing to do with what I just said.
It does. I'll tie it in. Answer the question, please. Is that my fault? If I do an action that somebody else doesn't like and they have a consequence that I didn't choose, is that my fault?
If you do an action that somebody doesn't like and they do something?
Yeah.
Sure. No. I mean, they're responsible for their own actions.
All right. So I didn't choose my biology. I was born this way. You didn't force
somebody else to do something, right?
Right.
Okay, so this is the piece that you're not missing. So like when I gave you like the button scenario, it would be like you would be replacing it. I said that somebody dies, right? Somebody dies. Your scenario, you're kind of like changing it to where, well, somebody else chooses to kill somebody, right? Yep. So you're adding in additional layers that have nothing to do with the situation.
Well, they do actually. So let's take your baseball example. So let's say I'm in my backyard and I'm throwing a baseball, and somebody else decides to put a big piece of or their window in the middle of my
you're doing it.
Wait, Tyler, let him finish.
So I'm in my backyard, my property. I get to do anything I want with my property, and somebody else decides to put in a window in my backyard that I didn't consent to. I didn't ask to be there, and the window breaks because I'm throwing the baseball. Who's at fault?
Somebody else chose to make the conscious decision to do whatever they wanted to do.
Sure. So let's take another example. Let's say I'm in my backyard, I'm throwing a baseball, and somebody else's window falls accidentally out of their house into my backyard and it hits that. Who's at fault?
You throw a baseball and what happens?
Like there's somebody's house is next to mine and their window like fell out of their house and just landed in my yard somewhere.
I'm not understanding why the baseball thing even matters. You're just saying something falls into your yard. I'm not following.
Like so I'm using your example of if you throw a baseball, a window breaks, right?
Yeah. So you throw a baseball and this window breaks?
Yeah. So their window was in their house, but it like fell out of their window because it wasn't glued in correctly or whatever. Now it's in your yard and you throw a baseball and the window breaks. Who's at fault?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm not following that analogy. I'm sorry.
Okay. So like
all I'm saying is so you're throwing a ball at somebody else's window and then the window.
No. So you're in your yard. Like there was a big windstorm and somebody else's window fell out of their house into your yard.
Okay. So their window fell into your property?
Yep, their window
Okay.
fell onto your property, and you're throwing your baseball on your property, and it hits the window and breaks it. Are you at fault?
For breaking their window?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you caused their window to break, but you're talking about you're talking about two different things. Now you're talking about fault versus just causing something to happen, right? So you caused their
Yes.
window to break, sure.
Sure, but who's at fault?
At fault? Well, if it's on your property, then I wouldn't say that you are at fault for doing
Perfect.
that. Well, yeah,
So that's exactly the same with pregnancy here. So it would be
it's
the
not.
exact same thing.
How is it the same?
Because you don't control biology, just like you don't control the wind or the storm. And so if somebody else, something else that you don't control, like biology, forces a person or a window onto your property, that doesn't mean that you no longer have the right to exercise your right to have sex or to throw a baseball. Like, what's the difference here between those two?
I never said that you never had the right to do anything. You're strawmanning my argument. I never said that.
That is just a generalization for saying you should or shouldn't have an abortion, essentially.
You're strawmanning me. I never said that. You're arguing against a point that I never made. So let's get back. Throw something at, if you cause an action to happen, then you're responsible for it and you forced it to happen.
Well, you just said you're not at fault in the case of the window, right?
Well, I don't know how we were talking about fault. You're talking about like legal fault. That's why I'm not understanding what you're talking about.
Like,
I'm saying
you
caused it to break. You caused it to break. So
Sure.
my thing is what you forced to happen, right? So that's why it doesn't really matter to what I'm saying. So if that window, it doesn't matter if it's on your property or someone else's property. If you threw a baseball and it hit that window, forget about fault. You caused it to happen. You forced that window to break. That's the only part that matters to my argument.
Okay. So are you saying that should we ban everybody? That's
the only thing that I need. That's the only thing that I need you to understand is that through your own actions, right? Through your own effort, that you brought about a conclusion. To say that, well, if someone does have sex and they bring about the conclusion, they brought about that conclusion of pregnancy, right? If you start anything, if you are the reason why a biological chain of events starts, you are responsible for it. It would not have happened otherwise without you. Just because you're saying, oh, well, it's biological and it's this type of process, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happened if you are the person who made it happen.
Yeah, to make it happen, you have to actually design biology. So literally, you can't make biology happen. So let's go back to the analogy, because you've contradicted yourself several times here.
No, I haven't.
If someone like has a right to throw a baseball in their yard, they have the right to continue to throw the baseball, even if the someone else's window fell into their yard without their consent. So are you saying that people shouldn't be allowed to throw the baseball?
That doesn't matter. I never said anything about allow or not allow, and that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. The only thing that I'm talking about is force. I don't know how like you're just definitionally incorrect.
I don't understand your argument here. So you're saying that abortion is bad, and therefore people should not do it.
Should not have abortions?
Yes, I would assume.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying people should not be able to throw the baseball and should not be able to break the window.
No, because I think that you're comparing it to pregnancy, not abortion. Pregnancy and abortion aren't the same thing.
Okay, so they break the window and they then remove it from their yard. Are they allowed to remove it from their yard?
What?
Baseball.
I'm legitimate. I'm already having trouble following your window analogy here. How you're trying to make it analogous to abortion or pregnancy. Why don't you try like another analogy?
No, this is a really good analogy. It's super easy for people to understand. If you don't understand it, I mean, that's on you.
So I'm not understanding it. No, hold on. It's your responsibility to get me to understand what you're saying.
No, I just need to present an argument that the vast majority of people can understand to show that it's a compelling argument. Well, so how do you know that the vast majority of people are going to understand? Because I've spoken to like my audience for sure, and they understand it pretty easily. It's a pretty simple analogy.
You've never used this analogy.
Yes, I have.
You've used this baseball analogy with the window and falling into someone else's yard?
Yes. I've talked about abortion multiple times on multiple places. This is not hard.
I don't know. The chat's disagreeing with you. They're saying that they're not understanding what you're saying.
Well, and that's the majority of the people. They should probably think about it harder. So again, this is pretty simple. The analogy is that you don't control biology. You don't design biology. So if biology forces you to do something you didn't consent to, that's exactly analogous to another person forcing that on your body without your consent. So like another example of like would be like smoking. Smoking causes cancer. Are you morally responsible for cancer? No. You didn't choose to allow your cells to mutate in that way. Should we as Doctors stop the cancer? Yes, we should. Just like we should stop the pregnancy that you didn't want occurring to your body. You have the right.
Hold on. You're saying that if you smoke cigarettes, that you're not responsible for giving yourself cancer?
Correct. Like you're not. We're not going to force you to take the cancer.
Hold on. You are not. So hold on. Wait a minute. Wait. If you smoke cigarettes, you're saying that you are not responsible if you get cancer from smoking cigarettes?
Right. We did not agree to biology. This is
That
pretty
is
simple.
I'm trying not to like ad hom so strongly right now. I really just want to say that's so I don't even know how to reach you at that point. So we're obviously just having a disagreement here when it comes to force. I don't know how to make this any clearer, but I have another question for you. So the whole reason why you don't and correct me if I'm wrong, the whole reason why you don't subscribe to the pro-life thing is because somebody is using your body without your consent?
Yes.
Okay. So do you believe that that there is any scenario to where someone could use your body with your consent, without your consent?
No.
Here, I'll make it more specific. So do you believe that no one should ever have to use your bodily resources, even if that person is your child?
If you've agreed to a contractual usage, then it's fine. So like if I've agreed to donate plasma, then they can now use my bodily function. So if you've agreed to take care of a child, you are now consensually, or you've consensually entered into a contract where you now are obligated.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead. So do you mind if I pose you a scenario?
Sure.
Okay, so let's say that a mother and her newborn are on a plane, and the plane is hijacked. Hijackers crash the plane into a mountain, and the mother and child are the only survivors. Now, there is no food that she can find. There's no animals that she can hunt. There's nothing other than snow. However, she is lactating and can breastfeed. Should she be legally permitted to deny breastfeeding and allow her child to starve?
No, because she's already agreed consensually to take on the child. Therefore, she is obligated to that contract.
How did she contractually agree to that?
By having a child in a country where those are the laws.
Well, hold on. It doesn't matter if they're born or not born, because what you said is they're a person in the womb regardless, so that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, that doesn't matter to the analogy. I don't know why you're bringing it up. So if you have a child after birth, after it's left your body, and you have agreed to take care of the child and have not put it up for adoption, you have now agreed consensually to take on the responsibilities of a parent.
Why have you agreed then?
Because you haven't put the child up for adoption. You have the option to give the child away, or keep the child and take responsibility of the child. If you don't give it away, you have accepted consensually to the obligations of keeping a child.
No, but this is where I'm not understanding, is that if you're saying that it's a person, no matter if it's inside or outside the womb, and you understand that it's their child, whether it's inside or outside of the womb, then it shouldn't matter. Why are you saying that they're contractually obligated after birth? How do you know that she is? I mean, how do you know that she did agree?
You're right. They can't. Like if you were raped, you're not contractually obligated.
Okay, so let's go ahead and so let's rewind. Let's modify this. Let's say that her child, the reason why she was pregnant in the first place is because she was sexually violated, and let's say that she was held captive for the entire time, so she couldn't go and get an abortion, and then she was given or had birth, and then she ended up on this plane.
No, she wouldn't be obligated to take care of the child at all.
So because of the child's circumstances, she is not obligated to take care of her child.
Nope.
Okay. So for how long?
What do you mean for how long? Ever.
For how long? Okay. So let's say that 2 years goes by and her child's 2. Can she kill the child?
No, you can't kill another human being.
Well, you're killing a human being in the womb. You agree with that?
Nope, you are removing it from your property. So if it dies by someone other causes of nature, it's not your fault.
Well, first of all, that's evictionism, not abortion.
Sure.
Okay, so that's not abortion.
If you want to evict the child without killing it first, that's fine. You still have the right to do that. Then it'll die of natural causes. Sure.
You actually don't have a right to do that just because the child's on your property.
If it's in your body, you do.
No, but you said specific property. I mean, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah, so property as in inside of your body. So inside of your body. So I've entertained enough of your analogies and answered them clearly. So let's go back to mine. Let's go back to my analogy.
So you're special pleading now. Now you're special pleading.
No, there's no special pleading here.
You are special
literally
pleading.
In your body. You can remove them. There's no special pleading.
Is it property or just body?
Body.
Okay, so not property. Not if someone's on your property.
Right. You can remove them from your property, but you can't like literally do whatever it takes to remove them from your property.
No, you can't remove like a newborn or a 6-month-old from your property if you're the one who made that child there in the first place.
If you
were the reason for
consensually
them being
agreed
there,
to
then
having
no.
the child, then yes. If it's not yours, then yes, you can remove it. If it was caused
Hold
by rape,
on.
Let him finish his sentence,
Let's even forget about that. Let's even forget that it's even your
okay. No,
child. So
I've entertained your analogies enough. Let's go back to my
this
question.
is what
you
you
haven't
just
answered.
said.
You haven't answered any of my questions.
TJump. This is what you just said.
Tyler, I've literally answered everything you've said for 5 minutes, and you never answered a single thing I asked. So let's go back to my
answer.
analogy.
You just didn't like my
so
answers.
let's go back to my analogy and let you try again. So how is biology
I've already
different?
told you that I don't.
Stop interrupting.
Go ahead.
So let's say, how is biology forcing something on your body without your consent any different from an evil dictator doing it? What's the difference?
How is what? I'm sorry.
Biology forcing something on your body that you don't want any different from an evil dictator doing it.
Because you are responsible for that biological chain of events if you were the person who started that biological chain of events.
Same in both cases. I started.
No, it's not the same.
Don't interrupt, Tyler. Tyler, don't interrupt.
You're asking me a question.
Tyler,
let me
don't
finish.
interrupt.
You are asking me a question, TJ. So let me finish.
No. You were responding to my response. That's called an interruption. So in the case of the hamburger, you ate a hamburger. You started the chain of events. Those chain of events are all deterministic. There's a deterministic chain in the brain of the other person, which causes them to kill someone else. You are the start of the chain of the events in the exact same way, both for the biology and the hamburger. So that's not a difference. What's the difference?
Wrong. So as I've told you, I think I actually said this twice already, so I'm going to say this for a third time. So if you are the reason why the biological chain of events is happening, then that's it. There's no person, like Mother Nature is not a sentient being. There is nothing there. Now you are talking about, oh, well, I'm going to compare this to an evil dictator or some evil scientist or some whatever, when they actually have they are consciously making the decision to kill other people. I'm not responsible for that.
Great. Let's go with that. Let's say that.
So it's disanalogous. Do you understand it's disanalogous?
Well, no, it is analogous. That was the third example.
Oh my goodness.
Let's go back to my third example. So the evil dictator designs your biology. So every time you eat a hamburger, you get pregnant. Are you morally responsible now? Are you responsible to take care of the child?
If every time that you eat a cheeseburger that you get pregnant?
Yep.
Are you forced to eat cheeseburgers?
No.
Then yes, you're absolutely responsible, 1,000%.
So then, yeah, that shows that you're inconsistent on morality.
That's not inconsistent. How is that inconsistent?
So I mean,
that's
as you've said before,
consistent.
If something done by an evil dictator, you're not responsible for it, but now you become responsible for it. It seems like you're special pleading.
No. You don't know what special pleading means. So check it out. So TJump. So I don't know how to break this down any further. I feel like you're now just being intentionally dishonest. So you are saying that some evil dictator, right, that is making the conscious decision to kill someone based on an action that I do, I am not responsible for any other person's actions if they choose to do them. I'm not responsible for that. Okay. Right. Now, in this, when you're talking about someone just eating a cheeseburger, now there is no body that is doing anything to me. I am choosing to eat a cheeseburger, right? And I know, or it doesn't even, so I know that I'm going to be impregnated, right? There is no person that is making any conscious decision to kill anyone. You are completely disanalogous. If you don't understand that, you are either too intentionally dishonest or you're just too arrogant to admit
it. Stop wasting my time by calling me dishonest. I know more about philosophy.
You are dishonest.
So let's go back to the analogy here. So if an evil dictator designs your biology before you're born, just modifies your DNA so that every time you eat a cheeseburger, you get pregnant. He designed something in your biology you didn't choose for. Are you still morally responsible for the death of the person?
If he does what now?
Designs your biology, changes your DNA so that every time you eat a cheeseburger, you get pregnant. So evil dictator, still there, still an evil intentional person, changed your DNA. So every time that you eat a cheeseburger, you get pregnant. How is that different from the case where he's literally killing someone in his country versus causing you to get pregnant without your consent? Where's the difference?
So somebody forced my DNA to change to where I'm only going to get pregnant if I eat a cheeseburger?
Yes.
So in a world where something could never happen.
It's actually physically possible, but you still haven't answered the analogy.
So let me break this down. I'm trying to break it down as I'm thinking about it. So someone changes my DNA, right? And they make it to where anytime that I eat a cheeseburger, that I will get pregnant. Now, I can choose not to eat cheeseburgers because I'm not forced to eat cheeseburgers, right?
Sure.
I'm sure it wouldn't even matter.
What?
Why would that matter?
Why would what matter?
Why would your scenario matter? Why would that change anything?
It wouldn't. So the point is here is that you're just not.
No,
You're
it wouldn't
equally
change
as.
anything to me. On my argument, it wouldn't change anything.
So it's saying you're equally as not responsible for this case, the child, as you are equally as not responsible in the case where the evil dictator is killing somebody. What is the difference between the two?
Well, so the difference is that when you eat a cheeseburger, somebody else is making the conscious decision to kill somebody. That's different than somebody who changed your DNA at birth, and now anytime that you do eat a cheeseburger, that you get pregnant. It's just not. It's not the same at all.
How is that not the same?
It's not. I told you how it's disanalogous. I broke that down for you like 3 times now.
How is it not the same?
I'm not breaking it down for you a 4th time. I'm not breaking it
You
down.
didn't
for
break
you
it down a
time.
single time. So
that's not something that's going to happen.
You haven't answered
I'm
the
not doing
question.
that.
So
I'm not breaking it down for you a 4th time.
If you're not responsible in the case of someone else in another country looking at your actions and deciding to kill somebody, then you're equally not responsible if somebody else changes your DNA without your consent and the consequences of that. You are equally not responsible in both cases, and to say otherwise is absolutely special pleading.
That's not special pleading, bro. That's not special pleading. So if I choose to do something that I don't have to do, right? If I choose to do that, and then because of that, I know that there's going to be another person that is going to be dependent on my body for survival, I am absolutely responsible for them. To say anything else is just completely fucking irrational.
No, clearly it's not. So if someone other than you chooses to force your body to be a certain way where you can no longer take certain actions that you didn't consent to, you are now a slave to that other person. You're a slave to biology, which is immoral. It is immoral to make people slaves. So forcing someone to give up their right. Wait. I got 2 more sentences. Got 2 more sentences. So if someone forces on you and takes away your rights without your consent, you don't have any obligation to listen to those rights, even if the consequences involve another human being dying because of that evil person's actions. Go ahead.
TJump. So check this out. Even if you're a slave, that doesn't give you the right to kill someone or to force someone to become dependent on your body.
To free yourself from slavery, yeah, it does. Self-defense.
Person that you force to become dependent on your body.
You cut out there. You said the last part I heard was force to become dependent on your body.
I don't know if the feed went out. Hello?
Yeah, we can still hear you now.
TJump.
Yep.
Hold on. I think I went out there. So what's the last thing you heard?
Forced to be in your body, something like that.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter whether you're a slave or you're not a slave. You cannot force someone to become dependent on your body and then kill them. No one forces. Right. So here's the. Hold on. Let me finish. I'm not finished. So it doesn't matter what my circumstances are. If I cannot take somebody else, force them to become dependent on me, and then kill them. That's it. It's really that simple.
Right. So the point of the slave is that you're not the one doing the forcing. Somebody else is doing the forcing, and you're
nobody else is doing the forcing.
Stop interrupting. So someone else is doing the forcing here, which is biology. Just like the evil dictator, evil whatever, changed your DNA. So he is the one who forced this condition on you that you didn't choose. So he is the one who you are a slave to, and you taking this action of abortion or whatever is simply freeing yourself from the slavery of the other person. That's it. So, and you absolutely have the right to kill someone who is enslaving you or kill someone who's stopping you from being freed from being a slave. That's self-defense. You do have a right to do that.
The fetus is not enslaving you.
What is the fetus? No, the biology is. The biology is the slave.
Okay, so you can kill biology, okay, but you can't kill the person.
Right. So
you said that you have the right to kill a person who is enslaving you. So the fetus isn't enslaving you. So you're making 2 disanalogous claims. So you're saying that biology, okay, so go ahead and kill biology. Go ahead and kill Mother Nature or whatever it is. That doesn't mean that you get to kill that person.
So remember, the dictator is the one enslaving you, but if he enslaves you by attaching another person to you, you can remove that person at the cost of their life to free yourself. That's perfectly fine too. So I'm not saying kill biology. I'm saying if biology puts another person in you, you can kill that person to get them out of you. And you're in that right because it's self-defense.
No, again, we're just disconnecting because I've said it multiple times that you're the reason why that whole biological chain event started. Even when you even use your analogy and said that, oh, well, even if somebody changes your DNA and now if you eat a cheeseburger, you do whatever, sure, that may be unfair and unjust, 1000%, but that still doesn't give you the right to say, okay, well, you know what? I'm just going to do it anyway, even though I know that it's going to impregnate me and I'm going to have another person dependent on my body. So we just completely disagree on the morality of it. So going back to now I forgot because you went off into that, but I'll forget
What
it. I can't even remember.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to focus on because, yeah, we definitely disagree about the morality in these situations of if you didn't choose biology and it enslaves you by forcing something on you that you didn't consent to, are you morally obligated to abide by whatever it decided to do? Like, say you can't eat cheeseburgers, you can't have sex, whatever. I would say no. I would say you are not morally obligated to abide by the consequences of biology because that's appeal to nature fallacy. So
no one said that. I'm not appealing to nature anyway. So second,
yeah, you did. You said that if it was the case that
that's not what a naturalistic fallacy is.
It's appeal to nature fallacy. Actually, yes, it is. I know fallacy is better than you. I'm actually a philosopher, so I know this stuff. But if you said that if
that's an appeal to authority fallacy.
No,
you just committed an appeal to authority.
An appeal to authority fallacy only applies if they're not an actual authority. Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy Fallacies, Section 9. Idiot. So
keep going.
If, as I was explaining, as you specifically said, if you eat the cheeseburger and it'll cause the life of another person, then you are not allowed to eat, or you didn't say not allowed. You said it's morally bad to eat the cheeseburger. You should not do it, or something along those lines, because you start the chain of events or whatever. That's wrong. So that's saying that because biology or the evil dictator has forced this condition on you, you are now obligated to abide by this condition. And you should not eat the cheeseburger because it would cause the life of another person to insert inside of you. That is what you said, which is wrong. Like, that's meaning what you're saying is essentially someone should abide by slavery, which they did not consent to, of some other thing which has forced some condition on them. They just have to accept that condition, which is slavery and wrong. You're advocating for slavery. And I think I totally agree that we both disagree on that. I think you're immoral for taking that position. And I think the moral position is that the person is right to try to free themselves from that slavery. And even if it costs another person.
So wrong. So no. So a naturalistic fallacy is when you are saying that something is good because it comes from nature. I didn't say that anything was good. I just said that, and I never said anything about nature anyway. I never brought up nature at all. That's something that you brought up. To even say that I'm advocating for slavery is just hilarious when you don't understand, or you don't understand. You just don't agree that if you cause something to happen, that you forced it to happen. So we just completely disagree on that. It is what it is. You're definitionally incorrect. But at this point, I don't even know how to get past this. I think that we've kind of just deaded this issue. I'm good. I don't know what else to say at this point.
Do you want to go into the Q&A?
Sure.
Okay, we can do that. I did jot down some of the questions you guys had. So if you guys have more, tag politically provoked and who your question is addressed to, and I should be able to pull them up, and then we'll do closing statements afterward. So from Elroy Solons, Tyler, do you believe health threats to a woman is an exception to abortion?
No. If we're talking about abortion being the deliberate termination of life, like going in with the intent to kill, then absolutely not. There is no medical reason to where you would have to have an abortion. Tens of thousands of physicians have gone on record stating that. So, no.
Okay, so from Modern Caleb to TJump, would it be morally wrong to separate conjoined twins if one of them was dependent on the other's organs and was restricting the other twin's autonomy but would die? Do you want me to repeat that?
I'm not sure exactly what it's asking. Like, if it's asking that if there's only one of them that can survive, is it right to kill the other one? Or if they're both going to die, well, then yes. Or is he asking that if one of the twins says that it just doesn't like the fact that it's conjoined to the other one, so we should kill the other one, would that be morally right? No, it would not be morally right. It is immoral that they're forced to be conjoined without their consent, but it isn't justifiable to kill the other one in that context. I think that's what he was asking.
Okay. All right. So from Zen Code to TJump, if I break a window by throwing a ball, would I be responsible? After all, I did invent physics.
Not if the window was on your property and you didn't consent to it being there. No.
Okay. All right. So from Bran Rose, also make sure you tag politically provoked when you do the questions. Otherwise, I might
Hold
miss
on,
it.
can I respond to that last one?
Okay.
Yeah, well, no, TJump, you actually, if what you're saying is responsible, just that you caused it to happen, then we agreed that you did cause that window to break.
Right, but I go a little more in depth. I have a much more nuanced view of what responsibility is. Like, if you are responsible in the fact that you should be charged or you should have your rights taken away, you should not have the right to throw the baseball. That's usually what responsible means here. Moral responsibility isn't just about causing an action. It's about if your cause was not the worst option you could have chosen or something, or violating someone else's rights. And if it's on your property, you're not violating anybody else's rights. You have the right to throw the ball.
Okay. Should we move on? Okay, we'll move on. Let's see here. So from Andrew B, is the mother the evil dictator that forced a baby in the womb to start growing into a child?
Nope, that is biology or a god if you believe in a god. I think that the way pregnancy should be is you should only be allowed to get pregnant or able to get pregnant if you consent to it. Therefore, someone who doesn't want to get pregnant wouldn't. Consent to sex is not consent to pregnancy.
Okay. So from Modern Caleb to TJump, couldn't you equally say that the child is enslaved by biology by being put into the womb? Why are we only looking at this from the mother's perspective?
Yes, you can absolutely say that. I would say it is, in fact.
Okay. All right. So from Joseph to Tyler, why do you focus much more on the legality of abortion instead of the morality? And TJump, why? What are your thoughts on antithetism?
Antinatalism.
Antinatalism.
So, so the first question for me. So, I don't like to get big into like the super morality of like. I think that people can choose different moralities. I think TJump comes from. I think he comes from objective morality, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not. Yeah, I think he comes from objective morality. I don't really care too much about that. The only thing that I care about is if we can agree that killing an innocent person should be illegal. That's the only thing that I need to go into. Now, if you came from some type of morality where you said, oh, well, I don't believe that killing innocent people should be illegal, at that point, I wouldn't know how to debate it past that. Maybe Mr. Philosopher here would be able to do it. That would not be something that I am able to do. So I need them to be able to say, okay, killing innocent people should be illegal. If you don't agree with that, I would just say that you're immoral, and I would just kind of keep it moving. The same way that if you said, oh, well, we should have sex with 10-year-olds. I'm like, no, we shouldn't. I don't even know how to go past that shit. So, but yeah, I'm good.
Okay, so from Bren Rosa.
Well, hold on.
He asked about antinatalism.
Oh, right. Sorry.
So first, I'd say it is legal to kill someone in self-defense, like especially of your body, whether they intend to be in your body or not. But on antinatalism is the position that we should not have children because they're brought into a world of suffering and they're forced to suffer against their consent. I think that their suffering of the child is absolutely immoral, but it's not the parents' fault. Parents didn't design this world the way it was, so the parents aren't morally obligated to not have children. And so I think that having children isn't immoral, but this world of physics, biology itself, forcing the child to suffer is immoral, but that isn't the fault of the parents, so I'm not an antinatalist.
Okay. So from Rosa to TJump, how can we not control biology when there's literally birth control and condoms out there, also provided by the people who provide abortions for free?
Yeah, that's the goal of science, is to control biology, to stop it from harming us without our consent. That's the point. But obviously, those things are only like 99% effective or so. And so I do think people are morally obligated that if they don't want to get pregnant, they should use condoms and birth control. And then if they don't, then they harbor a lot more responsibility than if they did try to take the necessary precautions. So I do agree that we should do those things because we do have some control over biology, but not total control. If we had total control, we could essentially make it impossible for someone to get pregnant unless they consent to being pregnant. That would be the ideal.
Okay. So from Unrelated Coma, when do twins ever become conjoined with consent?
As far as I know, they don't.
Okay. So from Brandon, should a woman have the right to abort at 9 months purely by choice?
I would leave that up to the doctors to decide. I don't know at what point it would become unreasonable or unfathomable. I would assume sometime in late term pregnancy, having an abortion just because you don't want one would be immoral at that point. Because I agree with Tyler that it's a living being, and whenever at whatever point it becomes conscious, it's a human being. And I think that's like 2 weeks or something when you start to have brain development. So I think that I would happily agree that it is a living human being and should be treated as a living human being. But even as a fully grown human being, if it's inside your body, you have the right to kill a fully grown human being to get them out of your body. Self-defense.
Okay. All right. So from Torn Hot Sauce for Tyler, if a man and woman have sex with a condom and the man secretly pokes holes in the condom and the woman gets pregnant, did the woman consent to the pregnancy?
No, I would say. Well, hold on. Let me backtrack. To me, it wouldn't matter. So I don't believe that you should be able to have an abortion whether you were sexually assaulted or whether you weren't. So it doesn't really matter to my argument, because I believe even if you were sexually assaulted, which is terrible, parents, or more specifically legal guardians, are required to give food, shelter, and provide reasonable care for their children. I don't see how a woman, or not allowing you to kill your child in the womb, would be considered unreasonable care. So yeah, it wouldn't matter to me. I mean, it's terrible, but it wouldn't matter to me as far as like, no, you can't go ahead and like kill your unborn child for it.
Okay. So from Chris, please ask Tyler, does personhood require consciousness?
Absolutely not. I believe personhood definitely begins at conception. To say anything else is just arbitrary. Whether you come up with heartbeat, whether you come up with consciousness, whether you say that, oh, they have to grow these limbs or grow these eyes or whatever, it's just all a milestone in a human's developmental process to reach adulthood and eventually die at some point. So the only logical explanation, or the only logical conclusion, would be, okay, well, we're going to start at the beginning of that organism's life, which would be at conception or fertilization.
Question. So if there's a baby who develops with no brain, are they a person?
Sure,
That's
they may
strange.
they may they may be a dead person, right? But they're still a person.
Well, they're not dead because all their organs still work.
Well, if they well. No. So, like, there's two types of death, right? So there's like cardiovascular death, and then there's brain death. If you're brain death, we consider you to be dead, right? If you can never have a brain, then you would never, uh, uh, yeah, you would never develop a brain. So yeah, you would be brain dead.
So dead people have personhood?
I didn't say they have personhood. I said that they're just a person. If we're talking about personhood, so hold on. So when you're saying personhood, you're just saying like, where we have the moral consideration for life.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're talking about, so I'm sorry. So then, if you're saying like just for the moral consideration for life, if someone will never have a brain, meaning that they could never have brain activity, then I would say, well, no, because if you're brain dead, you're dead. But when you're talking about like a fetus or an embryo or anything else, it is more than most likely, that they will have consciousness if you happen to go that route, right? So yeah, that's it.
Okay. So from Neil to TJump, would a drunk driver who chose to drink the alcohol be responsible for a car crash head on due to the alcohol intake on the grounds they can't control the chemicals in brain?
No, because they have no rights over the streets or cars or other people's property. If they were just drinking in their own home and driving on their own personal property, like private property, and someone else drove onto their property without consent, then they would not be responsible. But if they were driving on public property that they don't own, then yes, they would be responsible for the deaths of anybody who they hit while drunk driving.
Okay.
Wait a
So
minute, wait a
from
minute, real quick, real quick, real
okay.
quick. I just want to make sure that I understood what he said. So, is what you said, because I kind of only caught the tail end of that. Did you say that if you're on your property and you're drunk driving and you hit someone, that you shouldn't be held legally responsible?
If they are trespassing, nope, you're not. That's actually a thing in many states.
Interesting.
Okay. So from Lil King Savages for TJump. So say we are in a world when abortion is illegal and the woman wants to get an illegal abortion. Should she be charged and go through trial the same as the doctor?
Well, I'd say it's immoral to do that. So I'd say no. I think it shouldn't be illegal. And obviously, I think that clearly, if we consider abortion illegal or immoral, and the doctor's the one killing the baby, then it would probably be the doctor who should be convicted, not the woman in that case, I think. And just to try to play out the analogy, it's like if you hired a doctor or an assassin to kill somebody else. I mean, I guess in that sense, you would be charged with hiring the assassin, but the assassin would be charged with the actual murder. So in that case, maybe if we considered abortion justifiably illegal.
Okay. So from Andrew, regarding the self-defense argument, if you grab my arm to hit yourself with it, can you then kill me by claiming self-defense? You're the one that grabbed my arm. Ooh. Can't hear anything.
No, but if someone else that I didn't choose or consent to puts you in my body, it's like the violent thought experiment, then I have the right to detach myself from you, even if it kills you. So obviously, if I put you in me deliberately and I consented to that, then I would be responsible. If I didn't consent to it, then it's analogous to somebody else putting you in me, in which case I have a right to remove you from my body.
Okay. So from Joseph to TJump, as a philosopher, do you think there is correlation between nihilism and depression, and if so, why?
Technically, yes. All the papers show that having mythical beliefs, like religious beliefs, make people happier in lots of ways emotionally, because it gives you hope in lots of different kinds of emotional connections to things that you have no control over. Like if you imagine there is someone out there who's all powerful and really loves you and cares about you, and that you're going to live after die, and you're going to see all your dead loved ones, like all of those things give you emotional comfort and make life a lot easier to progress. And so not having those things limits the amount of dopamine response that your brain can get. And so it does increase your dissatisfaction with life to be a nihilist rather than to be religious.
Okay, so from Elroy Solins, does the pro-life guy believe in limited government?
Indeed, I do.
Okay, so from Zen Code to TJump, how is biology immoral?
Tyler was right. I believe in objective morality. My objective moral position is that any involuntary imposition of will is objectively immoral. And so the ideal best of all possible worlds would be one where there is no involuntary imposition of will. So like aging would be immoral in this case because you didn't consent to age without consent. If you didn't consent to get cancer, it would be immoral for biology to force you to get cancer. So in my view on morality, anything that happens to you without your consent caused by another person or by nature would itself be immoral.
Okay. So from based homeschool mom to TJump, if I drink alcohol and I have no intention to kill anyone, but the alcohol impairs my driving, resulting in a death, am I responsible since I don't control biology?
Yo, they're really laying it on to TJump, bro.
So that was the same as before. Like if you're driving on your property and someone else is trespassing, then no, you're not responsible. If you're driving on public property that you don't own, then yes, you're responsible.
Okay. So from Wealthy Trends, and remember, you want to tag politically provoked if you're going to do this. But to TJump, how does consent to sex
Wait, Brittany. Can I ask about that previous thing? Just because I've been thinking.
Do you want me to pull it up?
Yeah, just so I can kind of look at it.
Yeah.
I didn't really think this through. I'm just kind of I'm thinking about it right now. So you're saying that if somebody is recklessly driving on their property, and you're saying that some states allow it, I'm not really care like what states allowed right now. Just if you think it should be or shouldn't be. So if somebody is like driving while under the influence on their property, and you're saying if somebody's on their property when they don't want them to be on their property and they hit them and kill them, that they shouldn't be held liable.
Yeah, if someone's trespassing and you don't know they're there and you hit them, you're not liable.
Well, what if you do know that they're there and they're trespassing?
That could be considered like stand your ground laws, I guess. Like I have no idea.
Okay, so then I guess I would ask what's the time frame? Like what's the time frame of somebody? Let's say that someone was on your property previously and you ordered them off your property, but it's taking them too long to get off your property by your standard. Can you recklessly drive and hit them and kill them and not be held responsible?
No, if they're like actively making an effort, they're just taking a long time to do it, then they're complying with the order and it would be immoral to kill them.
Okay, so there is no actual time frame.
No.
Okay, so as long as they are like if I'm inching my way off your property, then it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting.
But like if you were inching your way off my property while damaging my property or causing severe bodily harm to a person's body, then yeah, you could immediately just run them over. So like if it was like pregnancy where you're damaging the body on your way out, then yeah, you're justified to get rid of them.
Well, hold on.
But
You're saying if somebody damages your property, you should be able to kill them?
yeah, that's part of the stand your ground laws in most states.
Hold on. So if somebody is, let's say, chopping down your tree on your property, you believe that you should be able to kill them?
In many states that is legal, but
I'm not talking about many
no.
states. I'm asking you.
I would say no, unless it's like severely damaging, like trying to burn your house down or trying to kill someone or damage their body. Then
Okay.
it would be.
Okay, because earlier you were just saying just damaging, so it has to be like severely damaging to your property.
In my opinion, I would say that yes, it would be severely damaging. Then it would justify killing them.
Okay, but like severely is just like subjective, so I'm just trying to figure out like what that would mean.
So there's a criterion for self-defense in the legal statutes of the 4 criterion. Great bodily harm is one of them, which pregnancy qualifies as great bodily harm, so it is justified under self-defense.
Oh no, I wasn't even analogizing this to pregnancy. Right. I was literally just talking about like just your property, like your like your lawn or whatever.
Well, I was just going with their analogy here, so I haven't spent a great deal of time thinking about it. But if they like trying to burn your house down or would destroy your property to the point where you can't live there anymore, like that would be enough to justify killing them.
Okay.
All right. So from Wealthy Trends, and again, yeah, remember to tag politically provoked, but to TJump, how does consent to sex not equate to consent to pregnancy if sex comes with the inevitable possibility of pregnancy?
Consent to smoking is not consent to cancer. Like they're literally 2 different actions. You can consent to one and literally not consent to the other. So like you can say, I would like to have sex. I would not like to be pregnant. Those are 2 consistent beliefs that there's no contradiction with. So it's literally pretty simple to say they're 2 different things which can be consented to separately.
Okay.
I'm even going to touch on that too. So yeah, I'm not one of those people either who says consent to sex is consent to pregnancy. If we're taking consent just definitionally, it's just like if you agree to it. Like I can irrationally not agree to something. I can say that like I'm going to hit you, but I don't agree that you are going to hit me back. I think that's irrational, but that doesn't mean that I still consented. If you're just talking about definitionally, but yeah, I would just rephrase that to say that you're still responsible for your actions if you consciously and voluntarily act on them. If you set off a chain of events through your own voluntary action, then you're absolutely responsible for those consequences. So that's kind of how I would rephrase it.
Okay, so from Big Papa Fascist, please ask TJump if the person eating the cheeseburger knows it will make them pregnant.
Yes, in the analogy, it will happen.
Okay. So from Andrew, I don't know if we got this one. If you agree the child is enslaved because the mother got pregnant due to her biology, then you must believe both child and mother are slaves. Are both slaves unequal?
Nope, they're both exactly equal. So if the child could say, I would like to be removed from the body of the mother, then you should remove the child too. Obviously, you shouldn't kill either one. Like if you could remove the baby without killing either one and the baby could survive, then that would be what we should do every single time. We should never kill the baby. The only reason it's justified to kill a baby is because it can't survive on its own outside of the womb anyway, and so it's going to die regardless. Obviously, if there was a way to separate both, then either one saying I don't want to be here would have the right to be separate, to separate the union. So they would both have equal rights here.
Okay. Let's see here. Wait, no. That's I think we did that one already. So
you didn't do that one. That one was.
I think that was a response to his.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
that was a response to me.
All right.
Yes.
So go ahead.
How can you be pro-life and believe in limited government? I think that you just don't have a fundamental understanding of what it is to be pro-life, or at least not my position when it comes to being pro-life, which is that is the killing of an innocent person. I believe that that the unborn has equal protections under the law, and I believe that one of the only roles of government is to ensure our rights, right? Is to and to even criminalize certain things. Like that would be like saying, well, then like murder shouldn't be illegal, or rape shouldn't be illegal, or whatever. Now I understand that you don't believe that that it is the killing of an innocent person, or for whatever, if that's your thing, and then we can go ahead and debate that. But to me, it's just another immoral act, heinous as big as just murder or rape or something similar.
Yeah, I want to touch on that a little bit too. So limited government isn't anarchist, no government. Like if you're an anarchist and you want no government, and then you also want a government to prevent abortions, that would be a contradiction. But saying limited government and protections against abortion isn't a contradiction.
And for anyone who wasn't following, that means that TJump just backed up me. He backed up my stance.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. So and we're politically provoked, not correct. Okay. So, can you ask both guests, why are you allowing logical fallacies to negate a statement or position made? You might be making logical fallacies original.
So hold on. So is that saying that are we saying like because something's a logical fallacy that it must be incorrect? Like I don't think. At least that's not my position. My position isn't just because you make a logical fallacy means that you must be wrong. That would be like a fallacy. You know what I mean? So I don't come from that position. However, if it is important to bring up logical fallacies and debate on my end, at least, just because if you show that somebody is incredibly fallacious or consistently fallacious, I would say that it's less likely that their position is like a true description of reality.
So yeah, Tyler's pretty much right here. A fallacy is saying that the conclusion is wrong because the argument has a fallacy. The argument having a fallacy just means the argument is wrong. That argument, if it's fallacious, means that argument fails. But it doesn't necessarily mean the conclusion is wrong, because there could be other arguments or other evidence that show it's right. So the only point of bringing up fallacies is to show that the particular argument being presented can be demonstrably shown to be wrong, but it doesn't show the conclusion is wrong.
Yeah, and I want to kind of get into this a little bit more just with TJump. I want to get your opinion on this. Do you agree that there are certain fallacies that are just more, what's the word I'm looking for? More
significant?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, there's valid fallacies where the conclusion just literally doesn't follow from the premises, and there's invalid fallacies, which it's more just a generalization. It isn't like a proven kind of a structural form. So like if I said cats are dogs, dogs are chickens, therefore cats are chickens, that's literally an invalid argument. The conclusion literally doesn't follow, or it's valid, but it's unsound. So in that case, it's not as bad as a invalid argument, which is something like, I'm a hero, you're a chicken, therefore God is real. Like clearly the conclusion doesn't follow from the premises. So there's definitely a difference in the kinds of fallacies for sure.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there are certain levels. There are definitely levels to fallacies. I think that something like a special pleading fallacy, I mean, that just kind of just throws off like your entire argument because you're just logically inconsistent at that point. You know what I mean? So I definitely believe that there are different levels to fallacies and how we should treat them for sure.
Okay. Oh, this was just a compliment. You're welcome. Okay, so let's see here. Okay, from Zen Code, correct, politically correct. How can biology be considered moral versus immoral when it has no intentions?
So my view of morality is an objective model. So in an objective model of morality, you try to filter out subjective limitations like intentions and stuff. So in my model, any involuntary imposition on you without your consent is immoral, which would include gravity, aging, physics, biology, anything you don't consent to, forcing you to be a certain way would be immoral. So in my model, morality isn't limited to intentions and one other person, but just anything in reality that forces you to do things you don't consent to.
Okay. So from Andrew B. To TJump, objective morality is incorrect and he has things reversed. Wouldn't he just be Tyler? If creation is objectively good, then getting pregnant is good. Who is right?
Hey, so real quick before you answer that, TJump. Brittany, is Andrew B, is that Big Papa Fascist?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was like, Andrew. I was like, Andrew. Okay, I just wanted to know who it was. Good.
So yeah, I mean, wouldn't I just be Tyler? No, I don't think I would be Tyler. Like we disagree on certain things, and if we changed our positions, we'd agreed on certain things. So I don't think I would be the same as Tyler. Like if creation is objectively good, then getting pregnant is objectively good. That would be an appeal to nature fallacy. That's saying something is natural, therefore it's good. That's the appeal to nature. Naturalistic fallacy is the is-ought fallacy. So that's a different fallacy, just so you know for future Tyler. Who is right? Like if there is no objective, like if my entire model of morality is wrong and Tyler's model is right, then obviously he would be right. And if my model is right and his is wrong, then I would be right.
Okay. All right. So From Niall, if you kill someone for damaging private property, would it be moral for the state to kill anyone who destroys a state facility, for example, an empty bakery?
So for me personally, I don't know how TJump feels when it comes to like the death penalty. I think I've heard him talk. I think you made one thing that you said you don't believe that killing anyone is ever moral. I think you made that argument if I'm not mistaken. But for me, I don't believe in the death penalty at all. I don't believe that the government should really hold that power for multiple reasons. I've made multiple videos on it. But yeah, I definitely don't believe in the death penalty. It's too expensive. It gives the greatest authority to the government, and I'm a small government kind of guy. They get it wrong all the time. So yeah, just not something that I believe in.
Okay.
My position would be that no, the government shouldn't be able to kill people for destroying property that is uninhabited. No.
Okay. Where did I just lose this one? It says, okay, wait. No, sorry. Hold on. Just lost it. But somebody said, where the hell is it? Okay, wait, here it is. From Zen Code, politically correct. How can biology be considered moral versus immoral when it has no intentions?
You already asked that one.
I did? Okay, then I think we're almost caught up. We'll do 2 more questions and then we're gonna stop. So from Based Homeschool Mom to TJump, is TJump aware of the fact that his moral framework would be considered absurd by most? What other philosophers adhere to this view?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every view of morality is by definition adhered to as absurd by most. Like Christianity is absurd by most philosophers' standards, and most philosophers' moral standards are considered absurd by pretty much everybody else. So yes, there is definitely moral systems are considered absurd by most because no one really agrees on what objective morality is. What other philosophers adhere to this view? I would suggest you check out the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy on Moral Naturalism. That would explain lots of the different models that have similar viewpoints. There's some that get rid of oughts. There's some that have no prescriptive sentences. That would be the best place to try to find them. I don't know them by name because I don't study their models.
All right, so last question, and then we're going to do closing statements. So from Andrew, how do you prove your premise that biology that occurs without your consent is immoral? You say it's objectively true in your model. But how do you prove it?
If I could prove objective morality exists, I would have won a Nobel Prize by now. I obviously can't do that. It's simply a hypothesis. So what we do is we look at the evidence and the patterns in moral intuition and moral progress. We try to find patterns in those things like we do with any phenomenon. We describe those patterns with a principle, then we use the principle to try and make predictions about what we will discover in the future. And then based off of those predictions, if they're correct, we try to infer what the ontology of the whole system is. So obviously I can't prove it. If I could, I'd have a Nobel Prize.
All right, so I guess we can go into closing statements. So Tyler, why don't you go first?
Yeah, so I just want to say I appreciate everyone for being here. Always, as Brittany and TJump and Todd. Well, I'm not going to say he's not there because he called me out last time, so I'm sure he's there listening. So I appreciate everyone there. I appreciate everyone in the chat. Hey, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, I always appreciate people who are willing to, have these discussions. And I think that it's important. It's important to, further our worldview and, not to live in our own echo chambers. Obviously, TJump and I have a fundamental disagreement on what we believe force to be, and maybe a couple other few things, and even just the morality of it, even when we got over force. But still definitely appreciate him, even though, at certain times, by telling me that he must be correct for certain things, I find it to be a little pretentious. But other than that, I still respect him as on other debates that I've definitely seen him on. I go out of this with no type of bad blood or any animosity. I still hold respect for him. So thank you, TJump, for being here and having this conversation.
All right, so TJump.
Yep. Thanks, Tyler. Thanks, Brittany. I appreciate the opportunity. I always enjoy coming on to debates. Tyler, it was pleasant debating with you. You are definitely no Darth Dawkins, no screaming. So it was a enjoyable conversation. We definitely respect you as a person. And I would just like to say in regards to abortion, I think the difference is clearly the fact that if we understand that the mother is being forced, something is being forced on her without her consent through biology, then it's not her responsibility to take care of the child, and she has a right to remove the child because it's self-defense. Just like if someone else has implanted a person in you without your consent, removing them would also be self-defense. And that's the fundamental disagreement me and Tyler have, is that in his view, even if someone else does it, you still are obligated to carry the person inside of you because it's a human life, and that supersedes your rights to live the way you want to, I think. And so I just think that we just have a fundamental disagreement on the morality of that one condition, and that's really where we disagree on abortion.
All right. Well, thank you guys both for coming on, and thanks, TJump. It was nice having you on for the first time, so I hope to have you back. All right. So if you guys, I'm going to put the Discord in the chat. We do have a poll that we do after our debates in our community section. If you guys want to give your opinion on who you think won the debate, so you guys can go do that. And we will be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern. We have a panel. And if you guys want to check our schedule, it's on our Twitter and also in our Discord. TJump, if you can hang around after we exit, just want to talk to you really quick. But other than that, thank you guys. Todd, you got anything you want to say before we close this down?
No, ma'am. Good to go.
All right. Good night, guys.